everybody, welcome to the show. My name is T, and we are talking scary movies. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Remember, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to have a new interview for you, an opinion piece, or some horror news for you guys to check out. But throughout the week, I am dropping countless reviews in the world of horror for y'all to go and see. Doesn't matter if it's something movies, TV shows, books, games, whatever. I'm covering it all in the world of horror. And if you don't want to miss any of that, you got to get subscribed to my link tree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/tscarymovie. If you get subscribed to my link tree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page with video versions of the show, to your favorite podcasting platforms, the audio only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my written reviews and my movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page where you can catch my horror gaming. This month I'm playing The Thing for PlayStation 2 and Rewind or Die, and to my Fangoria shop page where you can enjoy my 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop, including a yearly subscription to the physical magazine. Take advantage of that, y'all. Hit that subscribe button, especially if you're watching on YouTube, as the more followers I get, the more content I can put out for all of you. So what are we talking about here tonight? Folks, not too long ago, we finished up going through season 2 of Interview with the Vampire. And as a number of you were going back through and checking out some of the reviews I did for the episodes this season, y'all pointed out the fact that I didn't get all of my reviews for season 1 up. I got like the first 2 episodes, and then for whatever reason, the videos for the other ones, I just didn't get out there for y'all. So I figured we are going to go back and we're going to finish off that first season. So while episodes 1 and 2 are in the can, and I'll have the link to that playlist available here for you guys right now, and at the end of the episode, click that link to check out the reviews of episode 1 and 2. Keep in mind, those were recorded a couple of years ago, back in the fall of 2022, when the season was first happening in the first place. So it's going to be a very interesting dynamic to come back and look at the rest of season 1 after seeing everything that we've seen at this point. There's not really a way for me to come back and approach this as with fresh eyes. And honestly, I think that's a bit better because my perspective on a number of things I know is different from when I watched it for the first time 2 years ago. So that's what we're doing here tonight. We're going to jump into episode 3 of season 1 of Interview with the Vampire. Is my very nature that of the devil? But before we do that though, folks, we started our August giveaway this month. For the month of August, if you comment on any of my videos, you get a chance to win yourself a little golden book of A is for Alien. But our July giveaway, if you recall, we were giving away a Tall Man Funko Pop, and I got to get that winner announced for y'all. Again, I took everybody that dropped a comment on a video in July, put them into a random name generator, whatever you want to call it, and our winner of the Tall Man Funko Pop is Tyler Wood 8207. Tyler Wood 8207. This tall man is for you. Please reach out to me here, and yeah, we'll make arrangements to get this over to you here. So folks, if you want a chance to win yourself a little golden book of A is for Alien, all you gotta do is comment on any video in the month of August, and at the end of the month, we're gonna draw a winner there. So without further ado, let's jump on into Interview with the Vampire. Now, keep in mind, the prior episode of this one, After the Phantoms of Your Former Self. So Louis had just been turned into a vampire by Lestat, and Lestat was showing him how to use his vampiric powers, the best way to hunt, and just the way that vampire life truly is. The thing is, though, is that there was already some trepidation there with it, that Louis doesn't really see the idea of senseless killing and is kind of like repulsed by the idea of how Lestat just goes person to person and kills without remorse. Doesn't care who he's killing. It's a source of food for him, and that's it. And the fact that now Louis and Lestat have bought the Fairplay Saloon, they've reopened it as the Azalea Hall instead, one of the very few establishments in New Orleans that black people are allowed to attend. And of course, we know the kind of business that Louis is running at that point as well too, but Louis needs something to tie him to the human world. He doesn't have his family anymore to interact with, and to the point to where it's not just the fact that his family doesn't accept him, but he can't put himself in that situation, as he almost killed his nephew, who's just an infant, in the prior episode. And because of that, Louis realizes that he has to basically separate himself from a lot of that human life, and he pours that back into the Azalea. So as we get to this episode here, Louis is trying to find different ways to go about his vampiric nature and kind of live the life that he thinks that he's able to do so, even though Lestat has all this experience. And it's hard not to look at this with naivete in this on Louis, because we get it, all right? There is probably a way to live as a vampire and painstakingly pick your victims and, not take innocent lives, not live remorseful. But I imagine a life like that is probably way too far on the complicated side to live. It would probably lead to discovery of that vampire, or at the very least, them risking their own lives in many different ways. And so when Louis tells Lestat that he wants to commit this experiment, that basically he wants to try only going for evil people who deserve to be killed. Lestat knows that's not possible, but he entertains Louis just so he can kind of see the result of it. And what's kind of interesting about this is that Lestat does fully commit to what Louis says that he wants, that they take this time to only hunt people who have committed crimes, who are a danger to society, and yet and still when Lestat does this, Louis still can't go through with it. And the idea is pretty straightforward, that Louis just isn't really ready to accept the idea of having to consistently kill other humans in order to stay alive. And we know that Lestat is frustrated by this. He's beyond frustrated because that's his lover, that's his husband, that's his life partner, whatever you want to call it at this point. Lestat gave Louis life because he loved him. And yes, there's all this lust in it as well too, but he gave Louis this gift. And seeing the end of season 2, Louis and Lestat finally get a chance to reunite. And after everything that goes down between Lestat turning Louis into a vampire into the modern day when we catch up with them, Louis had to really learn that vampirism in some aspects is truly a gift and not a curse. And the fact that it took him this long to really figure it out, going back and looking at some of the stuff that he puts Lestat through, especially when we know that Louis can't be trusted in his storytelling. Season 2, that's what a lot of that was about, is that most of the stories that Louis was regaling to Daniel cannot be trusted, whether it's because of Armand, who is manipulating his mind, whether it's through Louis' own ass or his own nature, whether it's Louis in a different mindset at that point, the power of recollection, as him and Daniel talk about in this episode as well too. Either way, it's interesting rewatching this and looking at the way that Lestat, again, does come off abusive for sure, but the question comes in and we have to call it out. How much of what we're seeing is actually the way that it happened? Because this episode takes place right before Claudia gets turned into a vampire, because the episode ends with Louis and his despondence finding Claudia, hearing her voice, and saving her from the fire. And we know that leads to one of the biggest erroneous lies that was told from Louis in this interview to Daniel about Lestat's nature, and that in reality, what really happened was that Lestat really did try to warn Louis, and again, plead to his naivete that some of the stuff that he's doing could have terrible, terrible consequences. So just interesting to see things in a different light after getting through the end of season 2. Some of the bigger issues that end up coming here, though, is that we see that, again, Louis is struggling with the vampire life, and that's putting very much a strain and stress on his and Lestat's relationship, to the point to where Lestat takes another lover, the opera singer, oh God, and I gotta try to remember what her name is. Blue singer Antoinette, and Louis is very aware of this, and that brings up an interesting dynamic to vampire relationships. The idea obviously is that vampires are going to live forever unless somebody kills them or they killed themselves, obviously. And so comes the question of monogamy at that point. Could you live hundreds, potentially thousands of years with a single lover? And we know where this relationship goes with Lestat and Antoinette by the end of the season. Like we definitely know what's coming, obviously. But it again brings up Louis' naivete. Like, when you talk about the idea of non-monogamous, ethical non-monogamy, open marriages, whatever you want to discuss in that aspect, there's certain ways to go about doing this. And I think that Lestat doesn't really come from a negative place or a place where he's trying to hurt Louis, because he tells him plainly that he likes a little variety here and there. And realistically, that's not a bad thing to be straightforward with. The fact that Lestat even he takes the breath to say it, like, there, I've said it, because it was something that I'm sure he just thought that Louis would kind of understand and see, and just that's the way things are. And instead he voices it to Louis and puts that out there. And honestly, in the scheme of what we've seen Lestat do over the course of the show, I feel that's one of the more loving things for him to show Louis, because he could have kept doing it and could have kept it hidden there, but he's very upfront and honest to Louis about his wants and desires and his needs. And of course, Louis flips it back around, because Louis very much believes, at least at that moment, in the idea of monogamy, and kind of challenges Lestat and says, hey, like, so what are you going to do if I pick up a lover as well? We know Lestat. We know the way that this is going to ultimately turn out. And I think a big part of this is the fact that Lestat has never been with somebody like Louis before that really does control his heart the way that he does. And so I'm sure with previous lovers Lestat has had, it's been very easy to just kind of justify and continue to do what he does. But with Louis, he does feel like this ownership. He turned Louis, honestly. Like, there's this dedication, there's this kinship, this partnership, this connection that they can't really have with anybody else. And so, you know, of course, Lestat being Lestat gets jealous when one of Louis' old friends, Paul, ends up back in town. And, not Paul, old friends, Jonah ends up back in town, and the two of them have a bit of a tryst, and we find out that Lestat was being a creeper and watching the two of them while they were hooking up, and this just leads to more strain between the two of them. And this whole situation, along with Louis' issues with vampirism, is straining their relationship more and more and more. And it gets even worse finally when Louis finally hits his limit. Alderman Fenwick, played by Bender, John DiMaggio, that's it. John DiMaggio, who plays Alderman Fenwick, basically takes Louis' business from him and basically serves him and says, you can't run business, you might as well sell the property at this point. And obviously it is due to racism. Like, the whole idea here is that all these white men in power are looking to start tearing down these places of black businesses because they're doing extremely well, and in some cases doing better than a lot of the white businesses, and they just don't want them there. And the efforts that Fenwick takes against Louis and the words that he uses against him, Louis finally hits his breaking point, dealing with everything with Lestat and their relationship and being a vampire and Jonah and Antoinette, and he kills Alderman Fenwick. Kills him, like, without question. And considering what we've seen over the past couple of episodes, this is a big step for Louis, because the fact that you're willing to kill because your rage, your pettiness, your anger got the best of you, justified or not, and let's make sure to throw that out there, justified or not, all these things that he told Lestat, this makes it a bit worse, because Lestat kills without, like, question in it. Like, he just picks somebody, he kills them, and that's the end of the story. There is no consideration of whether they've wronged him, whether they've wronged anybody else, whether they're a danger to society. Lestat will just go and kill somebody. And Louis kills Alderman Fenwick here because of the crimes that he committed against him. And again, we know Fenwick's in the wrong. We know he's in the wrong, but Louis also shows himself in the wrong in his contempt for vampirism and the way that Lestat does things when he kills him because this man angered him. Like, it just shows that Lestat isn't the big asshole that he's presented to be. And especially after season 2, this particular point should throw some shade's not the right word, but it should throw some questioning of Louis and his moral standing over Lestat in this first season. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love season 1 of this show, and it's now seeming like it's even better after seeing season 2. We know what's coming here in the next episode, that Claudia is going to get turned, and I'm excited to revisit that now that Claudia has passed away in the current season. So stay tuned, y'all. I'm going to try to get these out here weekly for you. There's only 7 episodes here in season 1, so we got 4 more to go. So my hope is we can finish this by early September. We'll see what happens. But hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments section what you kind of think here about Louis and his treatment of Lestat, especially after watching season 2. Do you feel that Louis actually loses a lot of the moral standing that he has here? I want to know. Let me know in the comment section, folks, and hit that subscribe button. Got more great reviews coming for you, including All My Friends Are Dead, Humane, and Cuckoo coming up here in the next week, folks. But that's it tonight. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.
Boy here is a big fan of Fangoria. So, if you want to check out the world's best horror magazine that's out there, get a chance to get yourself your own subscription, which I just got my first one back in 2022, and I don't regret it for a second. But if you want your own Fangoria subscription, or you like the Fangoria merchandise, then head over to the Fangoria shop and use my link if you want to save yourself some money, folks. That's an easy one to remember. Just go to shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW. Again, that's shop.fangoria.com/AXDEW, or use my specific code AXDEW at checkout. You can save 20% off your entire order, and that implies 2 subscription and one-time orders as well. You don't want to miss out, folks, because with the magnitude of horror movies we've had released in the last few years, and with what we have on the horizon, Fangoria is going to be your #1 source for all that great, juicy, bloody information in the world of horror. So again, head to shop.fangoria.com. Hey there, folks! Thanks for tuning in to T Watch This Scary Movie. I appreciate you checking out another review or movie news, whether we're talking movies, TV shows, books, or games, whatever, it's all scary. Remember, you can check out new episodes every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the YouTube page for video. That's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. And you can check out the audio version on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Just search T Watch the Scary Movie or TWASM. Don't forget, my name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.